The Union Budget 2022-23 was presented by the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman in Parliament on 1st February. In this video, I present the highlights of the Union Budget that every UPSC Civil Service aspirant must know. Before going to the details of the current budget, let's have a glance of some general points about the Union Budget. First of all, the word budget is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. According to Article 112 of the Indian Constitution, the Union Budget of a year is referred to as the annual financial statement.
Article 112 says that it is a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the government in a financial year. Article 112 to 117 deals with the financial matters. Article 114.3 says that no amount can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India without the enactment of a law, that is, appropriation bill. The Budget Division of the Department of Economic Affairs in the Finance Ministry is the nodal body responsible for preparing the budget. The structure or components of a government budget broadly consist of two parts: revenue budget and capital budget. The different stages of budget proceedings include presentation of budget, general discussion, scrutiny by departmental committees, voting on demands for grants, passing of appropriation bill, and passing of finance bill.
Coming to this year's budget, this is the fourth consecutive budget by Nirmala Sitaraman and is presented at a time when India is recovering from a third wave of COVID-19.
Union Budget 2022 comes at a crucial juncture for the public and policymakers alike for the following reasons: nascent economic recovery, looming Omicron threat, upcoming elections in 5 states, and key numbers like fiscal deficit, tax collection, and spending outlook. The key theme of Budget 2022 is to complement macroeconomic level growth with a focus on microeconomic level all-inclusive welfare. The 4 pillars of development on which this budget is focusing are inclusive development, productivity enhancement, energy transition, and climate action.
The Finance Minister said India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and it has entered into Amrit Kal, the 25-year-long lead-up to India at 100. The Union Budget 2022-23 will lay the foundation for India's economic growth and expansion for the next 25 years, Finance Minister Sitaraman said while presenting the budget in Lok Sabha. The budget lays blueprint from India at 75 to India at 100. It focuses on youth, women and farmers.
The budget incorporates goals of Amrit Kal, which include focus on growth and all-inclusive welfare, promoting technology-enabled development, energy transition and climate action. Virtuous cycle starting from private investment, crowded in by public capital investment.
Entering Amrit Kal, the budget provides an impetus for growth along with 4 priorities.
Prime Minister Gati Shakti Program, inclusive development, financing of investments, and productivity enhancement and investment, sunrise opportunities, energy transition, and climate action. In this figure, you can see the changes in the values of GDP and GVA during the period of 2019 to 2022. Here, you can clearly make out a rise in the values of GDP and GVA after the second wave of COVID-19. This shows the recovery of the economy, which is reflective of the country's resilience. So, we can say that Indian economy is staging a sustained recovery, with 93% of adult population vaccinated with first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 69.8% of adult population vaccinated with second dose of COVID-19 vaccine. There is also a decreasing trend in deficits. The fiscal deficit for 2020-21 is expected to balloon to 18.49 trillion rupees or 9.5% of the GDP. The gross tax collection is expected to fall short by 21.6% to 19 trillion rupees this year. Excise duty collection went up to 3.61 trillion rupees against the budgeted 2.67 trillion rupees. The fiscal deficit for 2021-22 is expected to be at Rs 15.07 trillion or 6.8% of the GDP. India's economic growth is estimated at 9.2% to be the highest among all large economies. Production Linked Incentive Scheme or PLIS will create 60 lakh new jobs in 14 sectors in next 5 years. PLI schemes have the potential to create an additional production of Rs 30 lakh crores. Allocation for capital expenditure has been raised to rupees 7.5 lakh crore in 2022-23, up from rupees 5.5 lakh crore in 2021-22. That is, the outlay in 2022-23 to be 2.9% of GDP. Effective capital expenditure for central government estimated at rupees 10.68 lakh crore in 2022-23, which is about 4.1% of GDP. The reason for increase in capital expenditure is that capital investments holds the key to speedy and sustainable revival, and public spending is required to take the lead. Now comes different tax proposals by the budget. The budget allows taxpayers to file updated return within 2 years for correcting errors. Income tax returns can now be revised for omission and mistakes, including declared income not reported. The changes can be made through a one-time window till 2 years from the end of the assessment year on payment of tax. The budget increased the tax deduction limit on employees' contribution to NPS account of state government employees. This is to help the social security benefits of state government employees and bring them at par with the central government employees. Tax relief will be given to persons with disability. Minimum alternate tax rate for cooperatives at 18.5% has been reduced to bring it with parity of the rate for corporates. Corporate surcharge reduced from 12% to 7% for total income ranging between Rs 1 to Rs 10 crore. Surcharge on transfer of any long-term capital gains has been capped at 15%. Reduction of surcharge on unlisted shares from 28.5% to 23%. This will likely facilitate investor exits and investment churn. Customs duty on diamond to be reduced to 5%. The budget has also extended the timelines for benefits under the new corporate tax regime. 15% corporate tax rate for newly incorporated manufacturing companies has been now extended till March 31, 2024. The period of incorporation for startups to avail tax benefits has also been extended by a year to March 31, 2023. RBI will introduce a central bank digital currency or CBDC using blockchain and other technologies from the upcoming financial year. Thus, the budget has laid down a solid plan of the government to have a public digital currency. This will boost digital economy. A digital rupee transaction will be instantaneous as opposed to the current digital payment experience. The budget has also introduced specific tax regime for virtual digital assets. Virtual assets to be taxed at 30%. The finance minister says that it cannot be mentioned as a replacement of any other income. 1% TDS to be charged further on payments made using digital assets to keep a track on transactions. This move would formally bring virtual assets such as cryptocurrencies and non-fungible tokens under the tax net, thereby providing it the government recognition. 1.5 lakh post offices will come on core banking system. Scheduled commercial banks to set up 75 digital banking units in 75 districts. CPACE or Center for Processing Accelerated Corporate Exit to be established for speedy winding up of companies. World-class foreign universities and institutions to be allowed in the gift city. An international arbitration center to be set up for the timely settlement of disputes under international jurisprudence. The budget has proposed different schemes for mobilization of resources. Data centers and energy storage systems to be given infrastructure status. Venture capital and private equity invested more than Rs 5.5 lakh crore last year, facilitating one of the largest startup and growth ecosystem. Measures to be taken to help scale up the investment. Blended funds to be promoted for sunrise sectors. Sovereign green bonds to be issued for mobilizing resources for green infrastructure. In the budget, Rs 1 lakh crore allocated to states to help investments. This will be given as 50 years interest-free loans over and above normal borrowings. There will be enhanced outlay for scheme for financial assistance to states for capital investment. States will be allowed a fiscal deficit of 4% of GSDP, of which 0.5% will be tied to power sector reforms. Rs 19,500 crores will be allocated for manufacturing solar modules. India's GDP in dollar terms has already crossed $3 trillion. With some luck and real GDP growth of 8 to 9%, India could become a $5 trillion economy by financial year 2026 as per the experts. The budget announces a lot of provisions for agriculture and food processing sector also, such as promoting chemical-free natural farming, starting with farmers' land close to River Ganga, promoting post-harvest value addition, consumption and branding of millet products, delivery of digital and high-tech services to farmers in PPP mode, use of Kisan drones to aid farmers, launching fund with blended capital to finance agriculture startups. In the agriculture sector, the budget has allotted Rs 2.37 lakh crore for direct payment of minimum support price to farmers. Agriculture credit target is Rs 18 lakh crore for next fiscal compared to Rs 16.5 lakh crore in the current year. Drones to be used for crop assessment, digitization of land records and spraying of insecticides. Fund to be set up to finance agriculture and rural startups. Financial support to farmers belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes who want to take up agroforestry. In the education sector, the budget plans to set up a digital university which will provide world-class education to Indian students. This will provide lessons in all regional languages through a network of hub and spoke model. Some new e-learning content delivery platforms would be launched using the internet, television networks and smartphones to help students in rural and semi-urban areas. Prime Minister E-Vidya scheme or One Class One TV channel program to be expanded from 12 to 200 TV channels. This is to educate in regional languages from class 1 to class 12. Virtual labs and skilling e-labs to be set up to promote critical thinking skills and simulated learning environment. High quality e-content will be developed for delivery through digital teachers. Under infrastructure, the emphasis is given to Prime Minister Gati Shakti Master Plan, which is to make world-class infrastructure in India. The 7 engines that drive Prime Minister Gati Shakti Master Plan are roads, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways and logistics infrastructure. The projects pertaining to these 7 engines in the National Infrastructure Pipeline will be aligned with Prime Minister Gati Shakti Framework. National Highways Network to be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 2022-23. Rupees 20,000 crores to be mobilized for National Highways Network expansion. Contracts to be awarded through public-private partnership mode in 2020-23 for implementation of multimodal logistics parks at 4 locations. Rupees 60,000 crore allocated to the Nal Se Jal scheme. Rupees 48,000 crore allocated for completion of construction of 80 lakh houses under Housing for All scheme. 5 river linking projects across various states announced. Rupees 1,400 crores allocated for Ken-Betwa River Interlinking Project. Implementation of Ken-Betwa Link Project will be benefiting 9.1 lakh hectare farmland, providing drinking water to 62 lakh people and generating 103 megawatt of hydropower and 27 megawatt of solar power. 5 more such projects are under process of implementation. As part of urban planning, modernization of building bylaws, town planning schemes and transit orientation development will be implemented. Battery swapping policy to be brought out for setting up charging stations at scale in urban areas. Data centers and energy storage systems to be included in harmonized list of infrastructure sectors. This will include dense charging infrastructure and grid scale systems. These will facilitate credit availability for digital infrastructure and clean energy storage. A new scheme, Prime Minister Development Initiative for Northeastern Region, will be launched to fund infrastructure and social development projects in the Northeast. An initial allocation of Rs 1,500 crore will be made to enable livelihood activities for youth and women under the scheme. Vibrant Villages program to be launched for development of border villages with sparse population, limited connectivity and infrastructure on the northern border. Aspirational Blocks program to be launched for development of lagging blocks of aspirational districts. Coming to the railway sector, 400 new energy-efficient Vande Bharat trains to be manufactured in the next 3 years. One station, one product scheme will be implemented to leverage local produce carried on the railways. 2,000 kilometers of railway network to be brought under Kavach, the indigenous world-class technology and capacity augmentation in 2022-23. 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals for multimodal logistics to be developed in next 3 years. Postal Railway scheme will be introduced for carriage of parcels, which will give a thrust to a new business idea. In the defense sector, there is a 10% growth in capital outlay for armed forces. 68% of the capital procurement budget for defense to be earmarked for domestic industry. This is to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme and also to reduce India's dependence on imports. In the oil and natural gas sector, an independent system operator in the natural gas transmission sector will be set up. This is for booking and coordination of common carrier capacity to ensure unbiased allocation of natural gas transportation capacity. The same was announced in the previous budget also. This is aimed at addressing concerns of bias in allocation of gas transportation capacity by agencies such as GAIL. Also, unblended fuel to attract an additional differential excise duty of Rs 2 per litre from 1st October 2022. This is to encourage blending of fuel. Ujjwala scheme, which is aimed at providing clean cooking fuel to poor households through free LPG connections, would be extended to a further 1 crore households. We know that Ujjwala scheme has already provided LPG connections to about 8 crore households. But the new move would have a lesser impact in short term because of rising prices of LPG in line with international prices of fuel and withdrawal of subsidies on LPG cylinders. A lot of provisions are announced in the health sector also. National Digital Health Ecosystem will be rolled out. National Tele-Mental Health Program will be launched for quality counseling. Integrated architecture including Mission Shakti, Mission Valsalya, Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0 to be launched. 2 lakh Anganwadis to be upgraded to Saksham Anganwadis. A network of 23 tele-mental health centers of excellence will be set up, with NIMHANS being the nodal center and International Institute of Information Technology Bangalore providing technology support. Government contribution to be provided for research and development in sunrise opportunities like artificial intelligence, geospatial systems and drones, semiconductor and its ecosystem, space economy, genomics and pharmaceuticals, green energy and clean mobility systems. In the renewable energy sector, there will be an additional allocation of Rs 19,500 crores for production-linked incentive for manufacture of high-efficiency solar modules to meet the goal of 280 gigawatt of installed solar power by 2030. 5 to 7% biomass pellets to be co-fired in thermal power plants. This will result in carbon dioxide savings of 38 MMT annually. Extra income to farmers, job opportunities to locals, and also will help to avoid stubble burning in agricultural fields. Coming to credit guarantee provisions provided in the budget, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme extended till March 2023 with expanded guarantee cover of Rs 5 lakh crore. Under this, banks provide additional loans to existing borrowers without asking for extra collateral. This is for helping companies tide over liquidity crunch resulting from COVID-19 curbs. This is fully guaranteed by the government against credit losses. This ensures that MSMEs impacted by intermittent lockdowns get funding to stay afloat. An additional guaranteed amount of Rs 50,000 crore has been announced for the hospitality sector. Credit Guarantee Trust for micro and small enterprises to be revamped. Additional credit of Rs 2 lakh crores will be given. Apart from these credit guarantee schemes, there will be interlinking of various portals and also Raising and Accelerating MSME Performance or RAM program will be rolled out. These provisions will definitely support micro, small and medium enterprises. Other provisions announced in the budget for MSME sector are customs duty on umbrellas raised to 20%, exemptions given to parts of umbrellas withdrawn. Exemptions being rationalized on implements and tools for agri sector which are manufactured in India. Customs duty exemption given to steel scrap last year extended for another year to provide relief to MSME secondary steel producers. Certain anti-dumping and CVD on stainless steel and coated steel flat products, bars of alloy steel and high-speed steel are being revoked to tackle prevailing high prices of metal in larger public interest. For the development of tourism sector, the Pavatmala project with 8 ropeway projects are announced. This will ease transport-linked congestion in hilly areas and push tourism. In civil aviation sector, Rs 51,971 crores allocated to settle Air India's debt. For export promotion, exemptions on export duty provided on items such as embellishment, trimming, fasteners, buttons, zipper, lining material, specified leather, furniture fitting and packaging boxes. Duty reduced on certain inputs required for shrimp aquaculture in order to promote its exports. Special Economic Zones Act would soon be replaced with new legislation for the development of various enterprises and hubs. Animation and Gaming Task Force to be set up. E-passports with embedded chip and futuristic technology will be issued. Unique Land Parcel Identification Number ULPIN will be introduced for IT-based management of land records. So altogether, we can say that the budget has an all-inclusive welfare focus. Under Har Ghar Nal Se Jal scheme, 3.8 crore households to be covered in 2022-23. Under PM Awas Yojana, 80 lakh houses to be completed in 2022-23. Under Prime Minister Development Initiative for Northeastern Region, there will be funding for infrastructure and social development based on felt needs of the Northeast. Aspirational Blocks program is for development of lagging blocks of aspirational districts. Vibrant Villages program, as we said, will target development of villages on the northern border left out from the development gains. Digital banking by post offices. 100% of post offices to come on the core banking system. Scheduled commercial banks to set up 75 digital banking units in 75 districts. If we compare the allocations to different ministries, we can see that the maximum amount is allocated to the Minister of Defence.
Before concluding, let's have an overview of the budget.
In this picture, you can see that the revenue receipts and capital receipts for the year 2022-23 are higher than the previous years. The revenue expenditure and effective capital expenditure are also higher than the previous year for the year 2022-23. This is the pictorial representation of where rupee comes from, which include both revenue and capital receipts. Here we can see that the maximum amount of money comes to the government through borrowings and other liabilities, which constitute 35% of the total receipts. GST constitutes 16% of the receipts. Income tax and corporation tax contribute 15% each. Union excise duties provide 7% of the total receipts. Non-tax revenue and customs duty provide 5% each. And finally, non-debt capital receipts contribute to 2% of the total receipts. You should remember these figures because there can be questions for comparing the contributions from different sources for your prelims exam. This picture shows where rupee goes or the expenditure of the government. Here you can see that the government pays the most for interest payments, which constitute 20% of the total expenditure. States' share of taxes and duties constitute 17% of the total expenditure. 15% of the expenditure goes to central sector schemes. 10% goes to Finance Commission and other transfers. 9% each for centralized sponsored schemes and other expenditure. 8% each for subsidies and defense. And finally, 4% for pensions. Here also, you should remember the figures and comparison.
We have discussed the key takeaways of the budget 2022-23. If you like this video, please comment, subscribe our channel and support us. Thank you.